How can you prevent muscle loss after 40? Let's address that. Before I get into the nuts and bolts and minutia, make sure to like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that little indication button so you're always informed when we have a new video coming out. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. First things first, once you start hitting about 30 to 35 years old, I would say, things start to change in your body. The rule of thumb is your testosterone starts to drop 1% every single year starting at age 30. I don't particularly believe that. I think that might be a little far-fetched. But just know that things do start to change once you hit about 30 to 40 years old, and you do want to start changing your workouts once you cross the 40-year-old mark. What I mean by change your workouts is when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're pretty much indestructible. You can do heavy weight training all you want, heavy deadlifts, heavy bench presses, all these different things. But once you get up to about 40 years old and above, your joints have a tendency to start wearing down. So think in terms of, yes, doing strength training, but don't worry about doing super heavy beefcake workouts where you're lifting like twice your body weight and stuff off the ground, and you're doing really heavy back squats and really heavy bench presses. All that stuff is completely not necessary once you cross the 40-year-old mark. Your goal in this situation is to move gracefully, to move without pain, and not to have backaches when you get out of bed in the morning, and not to have knee aches when you're sitting down for long periods of time during the afternoon. And you want to be as ambulatory and mobile as possible when you're outside doing all the activities you love, regardless if it is biking or swimming or hiking or mountain climbing or whatever have you be. Pickleball, tennis, any one of those recreational sports. You want to be as agile and mobile as possible and out of pain and as upright as possible as you age, as you cross the 40-year-old mark, and as you get into your 50s, 60s, and onward. Having said all of that, focus on doing strength training exercises that involve multiple movement patterns, also known as compound movements. A clean and press with dumbbells, for example, is a good exercise. Turkish get-ups with kettlebells are one of my favorite exercises of all time. I would highly suggest doing Turkish get-ups because they're really good for your core, they're really good for your balance, they're really good for your flexibility. They also improve your brain function because there's a lot of pieces going on there and they're complex and you have to think about what you're doing at all times. And they give you the ability to get up and down from the ground easily while you're sistering a heavy weight over your head. That has a lot of practical application out into the real world. It can help you prevent falls. It can help with brain function, like I was saying, and we don't want our brain to go all cattywampus as we get older. And it's going to give your core a nice, strong structure, so when you're doing all those activities outside, you're going to be able to excel at them. So from a strictly strength training perspective, focus on doing compound exercises, do at least 2 to 3 training sessions a week, and do fun exercises like Turkish get-ups, walking lunges with dumbbells, your deadlifts and your bench presses and all those kind of back squats, lat pull downs, pull-ups, all those kind of exercises are totally fine. Make sure they're compound and don't worry so much about lifting twice your body weight. Just make sure you're lifting a load that you can do about 8 to 12 reps with every set. Another thing I would focus on is cross-body patterns. Anytime you cross the midline of your body, you're firing up a lot of brain cells and you're improving your neurological load, which is going to translate to reducing the risk of all-cause mortality caused from brain issues such as Alzheimer's, dementia, and everything else. I mean, let's be realistic. Once you cross 40 years old, your brain does have a tendency to start to decline. And one of the big reasons why is because we don't exercise our brain enough. Sitting on a machine doing bicep curls like this is fine to build your biceps, but it's a linear pattern and it's boring and you don't have to fire up too many brain cells. If you were to stand on one foot and do a single leg hand walk and a push up and a wild thing and then walk back up, switch feet and go back down and do the same thing over and over again, back and forth, then you're firing up the brain cells and you're going to create a strong brain as well as body. If you're doing Indian clubs and you're crossing the midline of your body, you're firing up your brain cells. If you're standing and doing alternating toe touches like this, windmill toe touches in the middle of the afternoon for a quick movement break, you're going to be firing up those brain cells. So make sure to incorporate cross-body patterns into your workouts. Another thing I would suggest doing is hot yoga. I absolutely love hot yoga. Anytime you expose your body to heat in the form of a sauna or even the sun, you're going to be boosting your testosterone levels, believe it or not. If you're doing hot yoga, you're going to be doing exercise while you're in that heat. You're going to get a really good sweat on, you're going to get a really good detox, and you're going to feel amazing afterward. And it's going to help keep you younger. Just wait and see how your skin feels, in addition to your body and your brain, when you're done with a hot yoga class. I would suggest 1 to 2 times per week. Ideally, I try to do 1 a week with my girlfriend. And sometimes we go twice. And when I do it even once a week, I feel major benefits all week long. But when we do it twice, those are even magnified. They're even greater. Cardio is another thing you want to think about. There are certain nitwits out there that say cardio does not burn calories. Cardio does not burn fat. Cardio makes you fat. Cardio is bad for you. It is not bad for you. It's absolutely nonsense to even think that. I would highly suggest high-intensity interval training where you do a warm-up for 5 to 10 minutes and then you go as hard as you can for, say, 20 seconds and then you go light for, say, 20 seconds and you alternate back and forth. And that's just one example of how you can do high-intensity interval training, also known as HIIT. There are a million ways to do it. That's just an easy reminder. A 1-to-1 ratio of high intensity to low intensity. So it could be 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, whatever have you be. And you just choose the form of cardio you like, regardless if it is jumping rope or running or biking or stationary cycling or elliptical training, Jacob's ladder. It doesn't matter. Stair climbing, all that stuff is totally fine for cardio. And when you do that high intensity interval cardio, it has a residual effect on your hormones, mainly testosterone. It boosts your testosterone levels when you're done. Higher testosterone and higher HGH levels translate to a higher amount of muscle mass and muscle preservation. So hit those HIIT workouts 2 or 3 times a week on non-consecutive days in conjunction with the rest of your protocol, and you're going to be doing just fine as you age because you're going to keep your testosterone levels topped off. Another thing you can do to prevent muscle loss after 40 years old is obviously do some shifts with your diet. Back in the old days, you might have been able to get away with eating late at night, drinking late at night, having all of these junk food habits, and still have good workouts and maintain muscle mass pretty easily. But that starts changing once you cross the 40-year-old mark. You want to start shifting things a little bit. Stop the late night eating, do some fasting every day. Even if it's 14 hours, it's still going to be beneficial. But ideally, stop eating by 6 p.m. at the latest. Even earlier is better. And try to follow a routine where you eat distinct meals with no snacks in between. You don't want to do this grazing thing all the time. Grazing causes your blood sugar to be elevated, and when your blood sugar is elevated, your insulin is elevated. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. You're going to have a hard time burning fat and keeping fat off if you're constantly eating throughout the day. And even if you're eating in an 8 to 10 hour period, and you're just snacking all the way through, you're still boosting your blood sugar and your insulin for that whole period of time. Over time, that's going to have a major effect on your inability to burn fat efficiently. You want to try to become as efficient at burning fat as possible and building muscle as you can. And the way to do that is through fasting. And try to work out in a fasted state too, preferably first thing in the morning. As far as the actual foods in your diet are concerned, eat foods that are beneficial for testosterone boosting and muscle preservation. That doesn't necessarily mean prioritize protein alone. You should still prioritize complex carbs and healthy fats, especially fats. Salmon is really good because it's a good source of protein and it's a good source of omega-3 fatty acids, which are very good for boosting testosterone levels. All of your omega-3s are good as well. So you can get salmon in your diet, extra virgin organic olive oil, hemp seeds, chia seeds, all your seeds and nuts are really good, and similar oils that are made from these particular seeds and nuts that I just mentioned. Avocado oil is really good as well. Now let's talk about sleep. Without sleep, you've got nothing, my friend. Try to get quality sleep every single night. The easiest way to do this is sleep in a very dark room with not a lot of lights, not a lot of background noise, and get to sleep at the same time every night if you can. Get into a good schedule with that, and aim for 7 to 8 or even 9 hours of sleep every night. A lot of you can get away with even 6 hours, and I get it. But ideally, try to get 7 to 8 hours. And get up at the same time every day. And again, try to form a habit of going to bed and getting up at the same time. That's going to really benefit you in the long run when it comes to your body's ability to adapt to your sleep cycles. And during sleep is when HGH rises. If you eat late at night and then go to bed, even if you have something healthy, your HGH is not going to be high. Your insulin levels are going to be high. When your insulin is high, HGH is low. HGH is necessary for recovering from your workouts, for building muscle, for your organs and your brain to regenerate, for all your cells to regenerate, and for your immunity to go up. Nothing can sabotage that any worse than eating late at night, especially if you combine your eating with drinking wine and beer and alcohol. So to put this all into perspective, the best way to maintain muscle and strength over 40 years old is by getting some fasting, working out in a fasted state, eating clean, eating whole foods that are all natural, getting some good omega-3s in your diet, doing compound exercises in the gym, using moderate to heavy weights, but not super heavy weights, doing cross-body patterns, and getting adequate sleep. Roll all that together, my friends, and you'll have nothing to worry about. Once again, make sure to like and share this video, pass it along to anyone you think might benefit from it, and make sure to subscribe to our page. Till next time.